This right here is the last thing that you would want to see when you email your tuner and you get the first response back from them. This is not a fun time. So I reached out to my tuner, Clark Turner. Amazing guy. He's been really helpful. He tuned my 22 WRX. We were making 454 wheel horsepower with just a couple of bolt-ons and some E85. I'm super excited to have him as my tuner for this vehicle. He works with Import Image Racing all the time. He's a really great guy, and trust me, I really tested his patience over the last couple days. So I've been having some issues with the car. Now, I bought this used. This is my 70,000 mile 2019 WRX. Now, when I was driving this thing home from picking it up, about 3 hours worth, on the highway, the car felt like it was pulsating. Actually, I know exactly what to say to describe my experience by just channeling my fellow Subaru owners. So if you have a sub 2022 WRX, because that's when they fixed it, every Subaru below that, basically, when your AC compressor kicks on, that is exactly what it feels like. I'm driving down the highway, I'm just cruising at a steady speed. I have like a constant like 10-15% throttle. I'm just cruising along, trying to get home, and every couple of seconds the car's just kind of like lurching. Like it feels like the AC compressor is kicking on, off, on, off, on, off, but it's not. I tested it, I turned it on, heard the AC compressor kick on, and it completely bogged the car down like it usually does. But this is what it felt like. I was looking around, I double checked the maps. The car was stock minus a stage 1 tune from Cobb on 93 and a Cobb Big SF intake. So the first thing I did was I switched to the 91 map. I thought maybe the car was running bad gas, and I was like, once I get home, I'll see what goes on. So I switched to the 91 map, and I got to my first gas station, filled up with 93. I went to Shell. I was like, should be good. Same issue. So I got back home. I went to Sheetz because all my tuners have complimented Sheetz gas, which is funny because most of my friends, anyone I know that runs Sheetz gas, they all complain and say it's not good. But all my tuners have said that it looks great. There's no knock. There's no issues. Great. So I got Sheetz gas, still in the 91 map, while I was running 93, by the way, just to be safe. And nothing. Switched to the low wastegate map, nothing. Like it just kept doing it. So I reached out to Clark. I was like, hey, my car's not running great. Can you look it over, see if there's anything that you can see, and get back to me? So I sent him that log, and that was his response. So of course that scared me, and I was like, well, that's not good. The last thing I want to hear is that my car's knocking and that it's got something wrong with it. So I was like, cool, well, I appreciate the feedback. And he's like, you know, let's get this thing tuned ASAP. So the first thing he told me to do was replace the plugs, and that's what you're going to see right now. Funny enough, I went to the Subaru dealership and I was going to get some brand new OEM NGK spark plugs. $190 from the Subaru dealership. So I started looking online. I found them on SubaruParts.com or whatever, and they were a little bit cheaper at $120. And then I saw Import Image Racing had them for $45. I'm like, oh my God, they're basically giving these away. I was going to order them, but I was a little concerned. I wanted to get these done ASAP, so I went to Advanced Auto, and they had the exact same ones for $80. So do not buy these direct from Subaru for $190. If you have some time, go to Import Image. They were like $45 over there. Way cheaper. The smallest spark plug socket I had on me was a 5/8, and I didn't want to try and fish out the spark plug with a magnet, so I actually took my 14 mil deep socket, and I took the only thing that really makes these a spark plug socket is a little piece of rubber that grips onto the plug so that it comes out when you pull the spark plug out. So I took the rubber out of the spark plug socket, and I actually basically crammed it into my 14 mil deep socket. So you can see that little piece of rubber in there. That's going to grip onto our socket so that I don't have to fish in there with a magnet. I have that 14 mil, and that'll just go right on in there. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull both of those out. We'll see what they look like. Alright guys, so there is the old spark plug and the new one. So we went with the exact same OEM one. There's the part number. So it really doesn't look too bad. I mean, I've seen a lot worse spark plugs, but when your tuner advises to change your spark plugs, you just go ahead and change your spark plug. Perfect. But either way, there's definitely some buildup, and they're probably not firing like they should. So it's a good thing we're replacing them.
Well guys, we got it all finished up. The new spark plugs are in, everything's hooked up and good to go. All in all, this took me about 45 minutes. It's really not a bad install at all. It might seem intimidating, but I promise you it's not. It's really not bad to do this yourself. So we got that done. Hopefully, hopefully the car is running better now.
So the day he told me my car was knocking, I got those plugs replaced in under an hour, and I sent him another log. I was like, plugs are in, here you go. I loaded up his map. He sent me a base map. I loaded that up, and he goes, everything looks good. Here, do another pull, do another cruise log. So I sent him another pull and cruise log. He goes, okay, everything looks good. Here, do another pull log. I think we went just a little too high on boost, and I don't know if it was hitting fuel cut or what, but we pulled it back down just a smidge. He sent me, I guess, my final map, and he goes, you know, everything looks great. And I was like, well, the car's not riding great. Something's off. And so I told him what was happening. And when we looked at my data logs, he said, well, it's really weird. It's interesting to me is when you're cruising, you're kind of right on the cusp of the on-off of the fuel. The car doesn't know if it needs fuel or doesn't need, like, I'm right on the edge of the car's demanding fuel and the car's turning the fuel off because I'm not using it. So it's like, I don't know. I don't understand. I looked at some data logs myself. We checked to make sure the car wasn't misfiring. It's not misfiring. The cams are aligned okay. The timing's okay. Everything's fine there. But there's something going on that the car is just surging a little bit. And so, like I said, when I'm cruising any gear, any RPM, the car just like every couple seconds has this like little, just feels like the AC compressor is kicking on and it jerks a little bit. And it's very strange. Also, when I'm letting off the gas, sometimes it feels like all the motor mounts are bad, like the car kind of like really jerks. And I know the motor mounts are okay and the transmission mounts are okay, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. But all this to say, that's what's going on with the car. This is just a little update for you guys, but I'm gonna try and get to the bottom of that. So I replaced the spark plugs. I got the car retuned. It's still doing it. What else can I do? I'm not too sure. I got under the car the other day and checked all kinds of stuff. I checked my turbo inlet to make sure it wasn't cracked. I checked all the couplers on the intake. I checked the factory couplers for the intercooler. I checked the boost controller. I checked for the boost pill to make sure that wasn't removed or tampered with. I was looking all over the place and just couldn't find anything. So I am going to pull my MAF out. I've already cleaned my MAF, but I'm going to clean it one more time just to be safe. And then I really don't know. Maybe it's a clogged cat. It could be a clogged catalytic converter. It could be dirty valves. It could be bad coil packs. There's all kinds of stuff it could be. But when the car is running perfectly in the data logs and there's no sign through the actual physical data coming through the ECU that something's going on, that's what concerns me. This is going to be a hard thing to track down. So if any of you guys watching have had this experience and have fixed it, let me know in the comments. I was actually going through some Reddit threads and some Facebook groups and stuff and just searching, and a lot of people have had similar problems to this and never resolved it. So I don't know. It's definitely there. It's definitely very noticeable, and it's definitely very annoying. So that is what I'm trying to deal with right now. So it was super urgent to get the car ready, get it tuned, and get the new spark plugs in just to make sure nothing bad's happening. The car is no longer knocking. On Clark's map, we are super good. The car is running great. It's not knocking. We just have this problem that, you know, trying to figure out. So I'm also waiting for Clark. He's like, I'm going to brainstorm a little bit, let you know if I can figure out what it is, and we'll go from there. So a little update video for you guys. I got like 3 other videos I got to shoot today. So I'm going to just make this quick and wrap it up now. I appreciate you watching. Let me know in the comments if you guys have had issues like this with your WRX, and I'll see you in the comments section.